Now, the Pakistani Supreme Court has just ordered the release of one of the men behind the kidnapping and murder of an American journalist. Daniel Pearl was a reporter from the Wall Street Journal on assignment in Pakistan only months after 9/11 back in 2002, when he was kidnapped in southern Pakistan. Al-Qaeda and Pakistan Islamist militants later filmed Pearl's beheading and sent it to US officials. The footage was among one of the first propaganda videos used by radical Islamist terrorists. Well, his killers were later arrested and jailed, but now 18 years later, a Pakistani court has overturned the sentence of one of the leaders behind the murder, Ahmad Saeed Omar Sheikh. Now the Supreme Court has ordered that he be moved to a safe house. Well, joining us now to talk about what this release means, we have editor-in-chief of Algemeiner, Dovid Efune. So, Dovid, can you give us more background into this case? What was Sheikh's role, in Daniel Pearl's kidnapping and murder back in 2002?
Well, Sheikh's role in Daniel Pearl's kidnapping and murder is actually not in dispute. It's something he himself admitted pretty early on. He was the mastermind in the luring of Daniel Pearl. It was presented as a sort of interview with various militant leaders to Daniel Pearl, which prompted him to sort of come to this rendezvous, which of course ended in this tragic and shocking fashion, way that shocked and stunned the world. But this is a cold-blooded killer who has admitted the central role that he has played, and his family has been clear, and Daniel Pearl's family has been clear that this is a person who should be shown no mercy, no clemency whatsoever.
Now, what is the Supreme Court's reasoning behind the acquittal here?
Well, what's happened is in the interim period, he's sort of the perpetrator has sort of walked back the extent of his role in the case, and saying that he was just part of the group that lured Daniel Pearl into this trap, but he wasn't actually responsible for the planning and the murder. Now, based on his testimony that he gave initially, and obviously testimony that's played out in the courts, the Pearl family and certainly the United States government and real free and fair observers around the world aren't buying any of this. I mean, this is a cold-blooded killer who deserves to be behind bars till the end of his days.
Now, it's interesting because the court may be setting him free, but the Pakistani government's now scrambling to keep him in prison. What are their options here, and how likely is that to actually happen?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And the truth is, this is one that I think the Biden administration, coming in now to office and speaking of themselves as wanting to take a role of leadership on the world stage, really has to make this a priority. I mean, you're talking about a real slap in the face to the American people, to the American government, and to everything that relations between the United States and Pakistan could potentially be. The United States is going to be putting a lot of pressure for justice to be delivered in this case, and the Pakistani government really will be in their best interest to deliver on that, and in the interest of truth, and the interest of justice, and in the interest of people around the world recognizing that justice can be done in a country like Pakistan.
Well, what have been the reactions around the world? Is the U.S. expected to step in here?
The U.S. has stepped in. The question is how heavily and how harsh their position is going to be. Obviously, you're talking about somebody, Daniel Pearl, who is today an American icon, a journalistic icon, a Jewish icon, and the freeing of his killers is really a slap in the face, a real desecration of those three ideals that the United States and the Jewish community and the journalistic community really stands for. So this is a real test for the U.S. administration. How seriously are they going to take this matter will tell us how serious they are in general about pursuing human rights around the world, about press freedom, and certainly about fighting anti-Semitism and prejudice against the Jewish community.